Isaiah Collier was one of the most slept on draft prospects coming out of the draft last season, and it was honestly shocking to me how late he went in the draft. Isaiah Collier for me was my point guard 2 behind Rob Dillingham. I was not a big Nikola Topic man, but I did love Isaiah Collier due to his size, his playmaking upside, and as well as his scoring bag. He fell to 29th overall in the draft, which is absolutely blasphemous, and the Utah Jazz saw an opportunity to swoop up a good young player, and they did. And recently, these last couple of months, Isaiah Collier has really broken out to show what he's all about in the league. Today, I want to talk about Isaiah Collier, break down some of his game, and also just kind of give you some insight into why I love Isaiah Collier for the future and how he helps the Jazz organization. Let's get right into it. So Isaiah Collier was a 5-star recruit coming out of the class of 2023 and was arguably the best recruit in the nation. It was a very, very shocking thing because this recruiting class was kind of awful. There wasn't really a lot of great NBA talent that came out of this class. This is the same class that has Elliot Cadeau, Stephen Castle, and Kenzie Mbako, Ron Holland. I mean, there's some decent names in here, right? Some NBA rookies, some college sophomores and juniors, well, sophomores and juniors. What am I yapping about? Sophomores. Why if they're the same draft class, why would they be anything different? I don't know. Jared McCain's in there. Kwame Evans Jr., who I really like in college, is there. Rob Dillingham's there. But Isaiah Collier was the consensus #1 overall player. It was either him or Ron Holland, whatever you preferred. It wasn't Matas Buzelis, which was really interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little too high on Matas Buzelis. But Collier did deserve the rating. He was a 6'3", 190-pound recruit who had offers from basically every school in the country. I would say the ones that he was considering the most were probably Michigan, UCLA, Cincinnati, Alabama, and USC. He would end up committing to the Trojans of USC, which I think made sense. Him and Bronny would team up and become one of the better guard duos. Unfortunately, we know Bronny would suffer cardiac arrest while playing an college game, and would miss a majority of the season. And when he came back, he just wasn't 100%. And now, being as good of a prospect as he was, it's not a shock that he was a one and done level player. And to be honest, I really only found one weakness, or maybe two, in Isaiah Collier's game, who actually turned out to be closer to 6'5" than a lot of people thought. He would eventually become 6'4", but he was listed at 6'5" in college and gained about 20 pounds. So 6'5", 210 pounds was his listing at UFC. At USC, he was a very decent player. In 27 games, he'd average 16 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, shoot 49% from the field, and 34% from 3. His free throw shooting was awful. 67% from the line is awful for any sort of guard, so he needed to get that up. But also his 3-point percentage was at 34%, which is on the lower end. Now, was he the focal point of this offense? Yes. Is he known for his 3-point shooting? Not really. He's more of a crafty finisher on the rim kind of guy, mid-range pull-up. That's more of his game. Not really threes, but still 34% is pretty bad. This USC team was super disappointing. Collier tried to carry it as best he could. He didn't have the help that he thought he would, but thankfully he would still be kind of high up in this NBA draft cycle for a guy like me. I really like some of the grades that he got on the NBA draft.net board. He got a 9 in quickness, 8 in size, defense, and strength, 8 in ball handling, 8 in potential, and 8 in passing. As we can see, we see a fast and twitchy defensive guard with good size and strength, with a lot of ball handling and playmaking potential, with maybe some scoring upside. And I feel like that perfectly sums up what Isaiah Collier is in the NBA. And I think that that is a dead-on grade from NBA Draft.net. Very proud of that one. They compared him to Jeff Teague. We will get into that one in a second. Some of the strengths that they thought he possessed. Some of the strengths that they listed was his frame was a already chiseled NBA frame for the point guard position that could play in the perimeter. And it also had very good speed and body control. His athleticism and size was a very big plus. He was a very good downhill slasher, and getting to the basket was a very, very good part of his game. Drive and dish sums up Isaiah Collier's game. He can effectively convert at the rim. He shot 54% inside the arc, which is very good, and drew fouls at a very high level. He attempted nearly 6 free throws a game, but that being said, the free throw percentage was really bad. So we weren't really worried about the jump shot yet, because it wasn't really his game. I will say 3 turnovers a night though is pretty bad. The weaknesses that they listed was his ability to pick up his spots and process things against set defenses or an area and to progress further for a lead guard. Basically, what's that trying to say is when the defense sets up, he kind of got lost. When the defense had a game plan against him, he kind of looked lost. In transition, when he was able to get a switch and the defense was out of sorts, that's when he balled out. When it was one-on-one, everything set up, the defense is playing perfectly, he really didn't know what to do. Of course, the jump shot would need to get better to maximize the offensive game. There was a lot of flashes of it, and the free throw numbers were not good at all. Also, he was very handsy on defense. Just a lot of things that can be tightened up in the NBA. got tightened up, and I really like Isaiah Collier now. As I said, he was compared to Jeff Teague. I have the full career comparison pulled up here. I want to bring up the full career because I think that Isaiah Collier and Jeff Teague can be very similar players. I think Isaiah Collier will be Jeff Teague with a better playmaking game and a worse jump shooting game. Let me explain that. Jeff Teague was, again, a very well-sized guard who was a great role player and did amazing things. He doesn't give himself enough credit on his podcast for his college career, one of the better college careers I've seen. But Jeff Teague and Isaiah Collier are both probably going to shoot about 43% from the field in their careers, as you can see. Of course, Isaiah Collier only has one season under his belt. They're both going to rebound about the same. I think Collier, by the end of his career, could average upwards of 8 assists if he gets lucky. And I think that this points total could reach 10, 11. I really love that they include, however, the championships and all-stars. I don't think Isaiah Collier might never be an all-star. It's going to be a long road for him. Jeff Teague in Atlanta was a special player, man. And the only reason why these numbers look down is because he just kind of played in the NBA for a long time. And at some point, he was like the 9th man. I don't know if Isaiah Collier has all-star potential, but I think he has good point guard potential. Maybe an all-star is his ceiling for me. I don't think he's going to become one of the greatest ever. I don't think he's going to become like an all-NBA level player, but he could maybe sneak into an all-star game or two, depending on his numbers. He has to improve on this three-point percentage as well, and the free throw shooting. Those have to get better, or he's never going to sniff the all-star game. Like you just saw in that last game, I'm just going to go ahead and say his numbers out loud. 61 games played, 36 of them he started, 25 minutes a night, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 41% from the field, 23.5% from 3, and 67% from the line. Just kind of underwhelming what Isaiah Collier has been able to do, just because we expect more from a guy at a point guard position. Shooting percentage, game-wise, it just doesn't make sense how he can't operate the floor as well as other players. Now, my personal new favorite part of these videos, I'm going to go ahead and break down Isaiah Collier's game and just try to show you how he can create for the Jazz at a good level. Here's another instance of Isaiah Collier's game and why I think it can be elite. Isaiah Collier right here has Walker Kessler setting a screen. Of course, Walker Kessler is not this rim running lob threat that he needs in order to function. I think Isaiah Collier would do great with an Onyeka Okongwu, a Clint Capella, a guy who can dunk these basketballs. We're going to see this good screen by Walker Kessler, who's a very underrated baller himself. Daniel Tice has to commit to the runner. The roller's left wide open. If he gets a more athletic center on these, he's going to be a phenomenal pick and roll threat. Now let's go ahead and watch Isaiah Collier finish over a taller defender. I forget this Pelican center name. Good European player, decent backup center. Is it like Matkovic? I don't even know. Collier, gonna size him up. That you have to be able to get to the rim here. He's playing way far down, so Isaiah Collier knows it's not gonna be a straight drive. Takes him here, plants, up and under. Now, I will say this, it kind of looks like a travel. It's not. His pivot was his left foot, but it's a good finish over a bigger defender. That's just the upside of Isaiah Collier's driving ability. Of course, Isaiah Collier is not a perfect player, and it's going to take a lot for him to become one of the better players in the league. But I do believe that Isaiah Collier has it in his locker to be one of the better players in the league. I think he will be top 15-ish point guard at some point. He's a very good player. Last year's draft class was weak. That's why he's point guard too. Appreciate you guys for watching. Like and sub as always. And yeah, let's go.